Good morning, everybody. I want to wish you all a nice day. You know, today's Sunday. I didn't go to church today. I had an inclination. You hear this? See, we're in the 2026 now. We're going to take the mask off, people. We're going to take the mask off. I just want to this is New Year's for 2026. We're not going to do this no more. You heard what the song is saying? We're not going to do this no more. Listen. Listen, people. Listen, people. Listen. We're not going to do the peekaboo. Somebody's watching you. We're going to take this mask off. And I'm starting with it now. We're taking the mask off, people. Because people still have their mask. People still have their mask on. You understand what I'm saying? I'm getting out of the car. People still have their mask on. I came down here by the waters. See the birds? Look at it. It's the only thing is like New York City. These pigeons ain't scared of you. Look at it. I ain't got no food for you all, little buddies. But I'm doing a video now, people. Fly away. See how it is? I feel like you remember that guy that used to talk to the animals? You know, that's how I felt a while ago. He said I just feel free around me. Look at it. But anyway, like I was saying, we in 2026, we're gonna take the mask off, people. Some of y'all still got your mask on, and it's real ugly. Some of y'all at that New Year's party, the Christmas party, you was faking. I know you was, because I seen 3 of y'all that was. And I know in my area, I know there was other people that was doing the same thing in other spots, in clubs and all that. You go there, you talk about people, you sit down, you compare clothing. Oh, look what they have on and so forth. All right, speaking about clothing, of which, it's like, there comes a time, I remember I spoke to you all a while back, and I was telling you that while I was incarcerated, how I used to talk to myself. And at first, people used to tell me I was nuts and bugging and all that. But if you really think about it, you can be your own self-motivator. Because all right, you remember the movie Taxi Driver? When Robert De Niro looked in the mirror and he was hyping himself up. Yo, you talking to me? You talking to me? And sometimes, believe it or not, you can be your own cheerleader. Because what you're doing is taking your thoughts out your mind and overcoming your fears. And you're challenging yourself. And I didn't realize that that was something. I used to think that, well, I never felt no way. People walked by my cell one day, the police, and they stopped. And then they brought the psych because I was talking in the mirror. And not only that, I was answering back. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's called, as later on when I came out and I went to my VS, went to the medical under the VA hospital, because I'm, as a vet. I asked her, the psych, I said, this is what I used to do. Is something wrong with me? Was I becoming a nut, as people call? She said, oh, no, no, no. You were taking your thoughts out of your head. And what you were doing was thinking out loud. I said, so what about when I answered back? She said, no, you was just giving yourself different ideas. And I suggest people do that. That's what she told me. She said, that is what scholars and sophisticated people do before they answer. You ever notice that when you talk to them, they don't respond immediately? That they take time? That what they're doing is going in their head. They're answering the questions in their head, because you don't never want to say something out your mouth that you always got to keep apologizing to. And to the educated, that is not something that is acceptable, because it makes you look, it minimize your worth. So I said, oh, wow. So I said, I stumbled on something. She said, yeah, you did. She said, and as I went on and I continued to read the Bible, it's the same thing when God gave us that ability to be to motivate ourselves. Because it's just like a tear. Man, look here, I cried when I got my sentence. Not boo-hoo cry, but the tears came down my cheek. And I know there's a lot of people that can attest to it. Anybody that say they didn't, they lying. They probably cried behind. I didn't care who was not, because I'm a man, number one. And they know how I carried, so I didn't care. But the only people laughed at me was my co-defendants. They started laughing. two in particular sending word to the streets that, oh man, he losing a lot of weight. He look like he got AIDS. Yeah, that's how they was talking. And started a rumor because I used to wear suits on the street before. I used to be a member of the Jack Lane Health Spa. I was 225. I was solid. I used to get my suit tailored. And when they brought my clothes, because what it is, I was fasting and praying, fasting and praying. But in the process of that, I didn't want to eat the jail food and I was losing weight. So I lost a lot of mass, a lot of my mass. And my suits, when they brought it, when my wife brought my suit, it looked like a clothes on a hanger. So it made me look, you know how it is, when you're tall and you wear baggy clothes, you look goofy. That's why a tall man must get his clothes tailored. Don't buy clothes off the rack. Invest in yourself, fellas. But anyway, I say that to say this is that was a learning experience. Because not only that, but it opened my eyes to people around me. It made me see who was real and who wasn't. And the funny thing about it is that I never disrespect nobody, because anybody that ever got arrested that was dealing with me, I bailed you out. And if you couldn't get bailed out right away, that's because they put a hole in you or they needed a bond. And I encountered all those experiences. Anytime I ever got, why? Because there was at least $250,000 sitting down. My wife would contest to that. There was money sitting there. She had accessibility to that. There was money there that if anything ever happened. See, we don't do like, I wasn't doing like some people do. Some dudes, they go and hustle. They go out of town. And see, I'm an out-of-town cowboy. That's what I'm calling it. And to all the other brothers that was out of town, you're out-of-town cowboys too. And I salute you, because everybody couldn't go out of town. Yeah, that's a fact. Everybody couldn't go out of town. You know what I'm saying? That's why. But anyway, it's a thing that I never asked nobody to do nothing that I wouldn't do myself. In fact, I carried my own stuff majority of the time. You know? So the situation is this, is that, like I said, God, I submitted. Once I submitted to God, and once I got my time, I'm not going to lie, it made me a zombie. And and I want to tell you this, is like, my fear came over me, and it wasn't because I feared man. It was because I feared not seeing my children. I left my wife with young children, you know, and she had to fend. But guess what? I had a strong foundation, you know, and that's why I was telling somebody, there's levels to this game. It depends on the type of woman. When I met my wife, she was modeling. She was a model, had an agent. You understand what I'm saying? So and she had a career. So people, the other day I was talking to somebody. He's like, yo, man, this girl, these women are big. I said, homie, watch your mouth, man, for real, man. Cause what you talking about? Where you get all this self-righteous stuff? You all of a sudden you want to defend women and all. I said, I'm not defending women, homie. I'm just talking how it's supposed to be. You don't disrespect. You guys be calling women out their name and so forth. You don't disrespect women, homie. You don't do that. And that's what I'm telling them. And they can't see. That's you call a woman the B word. Your mother's a woman. Your auntie's a woman. And you keep disrespecting these women, man. Then you want women to turn around and be. And the funny thing about it, you guys disrespect women and cheat on them. And then when you get locked up, they're the first one you reaching. Hey, can you go do this? Can you go talk to such and such to get some money from me? Come on, man. Some of you guys, your woman the fingerprint ain't even dry yet, and she's already in somebody's car. One thing about Harlem back in the days, people used to judge your assessment by what you drive. And we know that some dudes was leasing, some dudes was faking. I was an idiot. I bought my shit off the showroom, Martin Motors. So did Billy Guy, because Billy Guy drove off and they took his shit. And guess what? He went and bought it. Billy Guy was driving off with his BM. The IRS, them niggas drew down on him. And guess what? That same day, he went and bought another one in Jersey. So, you see, that's what the 80s was about. You see, guys that was in cut. That's why I said Silent River Run Deep. You know what I'm saying? The out-of-town cowboys. Billy Guy, Los. You understand? These are dudes that they in the cut. They don't get, we were going out of town, homie. It's a difference. All these dudes, everybody with these rappers was rapping about their lives. About our lives. You understand what I'm saying? Dudes was touching money and wasn't even making a scene with it. So that's what I need. That's what today. That's why I say take off the mask. Take off the mask. That's what we're doing for 2026, people. Be yourself. Be yourself. You don't got to fake it to make it. Be yourself. Nobody don't care Like social media, a female wrote me, hey, why you don't dress? You know how to dress. Why don't you do it consistent? I said, sis. I wrote her back. I said, sis, that's not what this is about with me. I want to connect with my people. I don't want to disconnect. When you put on all these dudes got on this jewelry, they got on this makeup, and they looking like they so perfect. They got the makeup on. They got all this mink, all this jewelry. You know, first of all, I don't wear mink. All right, and all that don't mean nothing. You understand what I'm saying? Because then you pushing people back. You making people see they can't connect with you. You understand? Some people like entertainment. I'm about building, right? And that's a fact. And anybody, like I said, run my name, people. Somebody knows somebody that knows somebody. It's called the 6th degree of separation. All right? I ain't got a fake. I ain't got a front. Some of these dudes that with high profile cases, when they came in the system, they wasn't doing nothing. Because let me tell you something. You got Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, Staten Island, Strong Island, Long Island, they call it. You know, the 5 boroughs. And I don't like to use the word gangsters. But I'm going to have to use it to make an example. You have gangsters that came from every one of them. Staten Island, Long Island, Brooklyn, Bronx, you know, Queens. Now, let me say this to say this. We know that how a dude was on the street sometimes because you got dudes that dudes had to do things because they was getting paid and so forth. So it make your team look stronger. But you see, when you take all that away and you come to prison, it's who you are. People see you for who you are. You ain't got nobody to run to. And then when you do try to do, and then the majority of dudes wasn't having nothing. Nobody wasn't looking out for them. Because guess what? The visiting room tell it all, homie. Yeah, the visiting room tell it all. And I played the dance floor. And anybody knows me know that. So all these dudes was, oh, I'm with this crew. You broke as a joke. Then you was working with the A-team. The A-team is the administration. See, let me ask a question like this, people. What is the purpose if you go to trial and then you come into the federal system and you start working with the SIS? The SIS is the police, is the investigative police that's inside the feds. It's the same thing that runs, it's the same thing on the street. They're like detectives. And you have dudes that sleep in bed with them, meaning that just like on the street, they comply. Because when you take a position, you got to deal with them. And they tell you straight up, yo, we letting you do this, what's up? And then you got dudes doing that. So now, what do you call that? Or what do you call them? So I'm not going to put no name to none of this, but I'm going to talk scenarios. And this, because dudes are calling me over the last 2 weeks. About 20 dudes calling me because they perturbed with a certain dude, with certain people that's getting on the social media. And I told them, I said, look here, man, I'm not here for that. My whole thing is this. My whole thing is proactive. My whole thing is trying to reach to the youths. And again, to the gang members, I salute you. Not in a negative sense. I salute you because a lot of you all are talented. A lot of you all are talented. Now I came home, I still converse with brothers that's inside. With the Mexican mafia, with the border brothers, the Crips, the Bloods, the BDs and GDs. You know what I'm saying? The Nathaniels. You know, these different young dudes that was in there. And so forth. Because you come out, that don't mean you cut people up. These are dudes I used to eat with. These are dudes we used to sit down and talk. Young dudes. As a Jamaican, because they come around. These are dudes I used to sit down. So why now? Now, I'm not in the position I want to be. But what I do, I look out. Even if I looks out. And I make that a priority. I spend at least 5 hours. I make that a priority to touch everybody's hand. That is something because I know how the store sit in there. I know how it is. You know, a lot of us coming in, a lot of dudes will walk around the track with dudes. We talk, we build. I'm talking seriously, building, man. Talking about what you want to. They realize they work. That's just like me when I was young. I ain't got no big homie, but I had an elder dude, and I was on Front Street. Yo, do that, do this, do that, and that's how I was. I'll admit it. So I know how it is. The cycle keep repeating itself. That's why I tell these young brothers. When I went to the hole. I got in a stabbing. We was in Terry Hut. We was in a block. I've been in that block 2 years. I don't talk. So when I came out, a Sunni Muslim called me. He said, yo, big man, can I talk to you? Because then I was more brolic. I used to work out, right? So he says, I've been in this block 2 years with you, and you never talk. It wasn't until that day that individual disrespected you, and you and him got in an altercation, and you started speaking language I didn't understand. Then I found out that you was a Jamaican. Then he said, I never seen a light skin. I said, oh, come on, man. He said, I'm telling you the truth. He said, the Jamaicans that was coming out of Virginia, I never liked them. They was black and dreadlocks and doing a lot of this and that. So he said, when he said that, I said, what you, I jumped up. He said, take it easy, please. He said, when there's, after a tsunami is gone, comes through, what is left standing? So I said, out of my ignorance, I said, a building. He said, no, nothing is standing. He said, the only thing standing is grass. He said, you have to learn to be flexible because you go from 0 to 100 too quick. You don't have no rationale, and that can be detrimental. It's either somebody's going to kill you or you're going to kill somebody. And I know you're trying to go home. I see you going to the law library every day. You're fighting your case. So he says, I want you to read this book. He gave me a book, and that book was As a Man Thinketh by James Allen. Hey, listen, people. Let me tell you something. I put the book down, and when I took a shower, I came back from chow, and I didn't have no celly, so I put my curtain up, and I'm reading. Though that book was awesome. It's 68 pages. Talks about cause and effect, trial and error. Get it, please, while you're all out. So I read the book. I read it I put it down. I read it again, and I read it again. I read it 3 times, and I captivated the 360 in my mind. What I didn't get before, I got the second time. And what I didn't get, I got it. And that was the completion. Knowledge, wisdom, understanding. So I tried to take the book back to him. He said, nah, that's yours. I said, what? I went and made 100 copies straight up. And every young man that I came across, I gave it to them. I passed it to them because that's what knowledge is supposed to be about. Sharing knowledge with one another. Don't be like some dudes. They want to absorb knowledge and come around a bunch of dudes don't want to talk and sound scholarly. You know, you got them. I call those dudes intellectual bully bogarts. They don't mean no good. They just want to shine. Everybody always want to keep shining. I don't want to shine because guess what's the greatest asset? Guess what the assets to me is? It's not money. It's not materialistic. It's people. It's people. That's assets in my man. That's my definition of an asset because you need people in anything you do and everything you do. Okay? Today in this country is a beautiful country. You be a millionaire tonight. You have all these buildings. You have all these stores. You have all these cars. And you lose it in one block because this country can make you or break you. You lose all that. Government take all that away. Are you unsuccessful? Are you unsuccessful? Yes, in people's eyes in this day and time because people judge people's worth by their materialistic things. They don't look at the quality of people. They don't look at they don't watch the integrity. It don't mean nothing to them. All they want, oh man, yo, he got a rave. Yo, you seen that double Rolls Royce? Hey, yo, did you see that truckie? Get off his nuts. Stand in your own, man. Come on, man. I'm tired of that, man. Then I got individuals be calling me. He be talking about other people. Yo, homie, stop worrying about the next man. What the next man put in his pockets don't fool your stomach, man. What's wrong with you dudes, man? I don't care about no. Yo, homie. When I was on the street, ain't nobody turned me on. I found my lane. I was coming from Rikers Island. Dudes were supposed to wait. Dudes were supposed to wait for me. Because Monday, they sent them out on Sunday. And this is what was said to me. Somebody dropped a buggy. He said, yo, they don't like you. They say they can't be controlled and you're too ambitious. And that was a fact. And that's how I am. That's how I was taught. But you see, they didn't know that I was in the military at 16 years old. I was disciplined. You see, a lot of them do a lot of goofy stuff. And I'm not going to put no names to them in this way. I was running up and down that block, uptown, from sun up to sundown. And the individual I was dealing with, he was taking that money and dealing with his mistress. Yeah. All that in vain because I said to myself, see, I wanted to be out of here, in and out. But it prolonged. See, nobody don't know that part. Everybody just want to look and think that it was me, that I was arrogant, cocky. Nah, I wasn't. First of all, I was disciplined, number one. Number two, dudes was cross in relation to a whole lot of stuff. I don't eat well, you know what I'm saying? So I come out And I'm doing things, and I'm seeing the money making, but it don't reach me because I was sold a dream. I was young and naive. I ended up going back to Rikers Island for the individual. I'm still waiting on them damn Pumas he was supposed to send me. And I don't that the first one I had to do a bullet. The second one I had to do 6 months. Or for 6 months you do 4 months, and then I end up going to the Navy Yard in Brooklyn. I'm from the Bronx. So I'm still waiting for them Pumas he was supposed to send me. And the money kept selling me a dream. But I learned when I came home, I'm gonna tell you something. When I came home, so my wife at the time, she was modeling. All I asked her for was, let me get $100. I went downtown to Harlem, went down there and got 10 of them biz noodles, the long joints, took it uptown, flipped it. In 3 months, I had 15 bands. Why? Because I disciplined myself. You see, anything you do in life is a business. I disciplined myself. I went to the Chinese store. I bought me a pack of Calvin Klein's, $3.99, and I bought. You remember, biker shorts was in there. I bought a biker shorts and I bought two 501 jeans. The biker shorts I wore underneath the joint, and then I kept they were like a job strap. I kept the 380 right in front of my crotch, and I kept the 9 in my back. And I grinded. I wore them pants and there came a hole in it. But guess what? While it had a hole, that's what the biker shorts was for. It held. And I lived in a hotel because my mother was strict. Listen, I'm it's crazy. I'm 19 years old. My mother said, if you're not home by something, my mother locked the door. Clack, clack. So I ended up going to 233rd. I was staying in the hotel. I go in there at night. I crash out. I get there about after 12. I get up before 5. So I was in there, you know what I'm saying? So these are things that I did, but I realized it's the same thing as business. You see, a lot of dudes hustle, go out, make money off of eighth or something, and then what they do, instead of they reinvesting themselves, they go shop. So now they got to start back. No, yeah, I eventually, as time went on, my wife and I, we had a boutique on 72nd and 2nd Avenue. And you know how the real estate down there, you know how much it costs. We had a clothing, a GQ store for kids. Kids' clothes cost. But anyway, the whole thing is this. Her inventory was $250,000. And she told me, I said, damn, you sold everything. She said, no, that's not profit. You got to put the money back in. It's not till 10 flips that you start to see profit. See, a lot of people don't understand the business ethics. And that's what one thing the streets, you know what I'm saying? So in life, you have to have a good woman on your side. Take the mask off, people. Take the mask off, man. Take the mask off, fellas. Whatever you want to call yourself, you're a gangster, whatever, take your mask off. I don't deal with pimps. I don't like pimps. I'm not even going to mention you in my vocab. But I told you all about this on my video. A pimp tried to turn my sister out. She was Chinese Jamaican. Ever since then, me and my man. Y'all, anyway, that's another story. But listen, you got to stop disrespecting a woman. When you find a good woman, she balances you out because you all are partners. I'm learning this now. You know, and it's a thing where no man is an island, like Dennis Brown says. Behind every good man is a good woman. Even the presidents. Don't you think when he lie down at night, he talks to his wife, hey, baby, what do you think about this? Women are the mothers or teachers of civilization. I said it all the time to the point of redundant. But guess what? Truth don't need no support. Truth don't need no support. You know, and that's the whole thing. One thing I learned while I was inside Guy Fisher. I met Guy Fisher in Leavenworth. He's Dr. Fisher now. He told me, he's the one that got me on the education path at Leavenworth. I used to sit there. I just came in. I'm like a zombie, like I said. When you get all this time, you're like this. You're just sitting there watching. You don't want to eat. So I'm watching how he moves around. I said, man, he moving smooth. He moving like he don't have a care in the world. But they said he got life sentences. So I said, excuse me, Mr. Fisher. Can I ask you? He said, yes, young man, because that's how I used to talk. See, Guy's not no aggressive dude or no big muscle, but he's very smart and very intellectual. So he said, yes, young man. I said, yo, can you give me some advice? I just got married. He said, look, I'm going to keep it with you right, real. Forget about marriage and the situation with the time that you have. All you can be is a friend. I said, okay. Although he's telling me that, I didn't want to hear it. I didn't want to hear the truth, but that was a fact. So he said, educate yourself. Learn your law work and stay away from prison politics. He said the laws normally change every 10 years, and that's how the old law was. He said, but this new law is going. His lawyer told him it's every 20 years, and lo and behold, that's what it took for them to change. And the whole thing about this that I say this is that back in the days, as a paralegal, it was paralegal that were making the changes in the federal system, because you could file many 2255s as you want, but when President Clinton came and started with the anti-terrorist bill, you only was limited one 2255 after trial. So, but what I did, I found out as I got more educated with law, I found out how, I'm not going to say manipulate, but I found out how to circumvent that. Because once you file something as a pro se litigant, they always have you sit down, depending on the argument. You see, a constitutional argument and due process argument cannot be dismissed like that. But a lot of guys was filing to the courts and they were just dismissing it. But when I filed a constitutional claim that sat, they sat on my 2255 for 14 years. For 14 years. Man, at first I was upset, but once I understand laws and I understand the politics of everything, I understand what was going on. Then at that time I retained a lawyer, and the lawyer said, "Oh man, that's good. You've been So what happened was she put into every 30 days she'll put in for an extension, because base Supreme Court was coming down with all type of drug laws, that was all type of amendments. So the judge was granting it, bang, bang, bing, bang. But when she officially went in, after 14 years, he denied it. He denied in part, he denied everything, but he never gave a ruling. It's called, he balled it. He never gave a ruling. Anytime they denied something, they're supposed to give you a reason why. So we went, and she and I was arguing because she didn't want to file. So I filed. If you look and go to the law books, you'll see my litigation, people. You'll see my litigation. United States versus Harris. Not, what is it, 9? United States versus Harris is 1992 in the D.C. Circuit, D.C. Appeals Court. It's 959, Fed Second, 246, page 246. So you can't go wrong. I'm in the law books. Like I said, my case, I ain't work for nobody. I ain't this. I'm in the law books, people. You ain't got to hear, oh, he's part of this. No, I'm in the law books. It was me. I'm in the law books. I got this time for me. And I was out of town. I'm an out of town cowboy, all those and so forth. But I say this to say that is that, fellas, look at me. It's time to take the mask off. No more masks, man. This is 2026. Stop putting on images that you wasn't like that inside the feds. And one thing about Brooklyn and the Bronx, if a dude don't respect you, see, and another thing I want to say, no one man run the feds. It's a matter of respect. The feds is like the United Nations to me, because there's many ethnicities in there. So no one man run the feds. No one man run the feds. Don't let nobody tell you I was out in the yard. What it is a form of respect. Some dudes get the car out of because they were there the longest. They never put no work in. But then again, there's certain dudes that don't respect the dude that run the car. You understand what I'm saying? It's a whole lot of politics, but that's going to be another tape. I'm going to break it down. People want me to put names in these things, but I'm not going to do it because everybody know the story. I got one where I talk with Preacher and I cross paths in Coleman too. that was yo son. Listen, that was something else, boy. But then you have dudes that was dealing with Preacher, eating with them. Yeah, because a lot of dudes are scared of Preacher. That's a fact. And it's crazy because dudes will deny it, but it's a fact. And guess what? About 5 people called me, was telling me, yo, don't you remember such and such used to this, that? I said, homie, I'm not here for that. I'm going to be doing me. I'm not here to blow nobody up. I'm not here to do that. I'm here to do me and talk to the youths, because my concern is the next generation. I might not can save them, but I can make a difference. If I make a difference in one life, that's what it is. If I make a difference in one person's life, so it be. So with that said, people, we're going to end off with this until you take off the mask. Okay? One love.